Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, also known as Prince of Bealtan on the internet. And today, Wizards of the Coast have sent me some awesome new goodies from Modern Horizons 3. That's the upcoming set that's going to make groundbreaking changes to the modern format, the Commander format, and it's also going to be an awesome limited environment as well. So I'm going to crack some packs, I'm going to show you what we get, I'm going to talk through all the new cards, and in the end I'm going to show you how to build a deck with them if you want to take yourself to the pre-release this coming weekend. I'm really excited about Modern Horizons 3, and that's because it brings with it the return of the Eldrazi, my favourite creature type in all of Magic the Gathering. These are esoteric beings from the blind eternities. They are unknowable, unstoppable, and when I play them, undefeatable. When I'm going through these packs, I will be looking so hard for the new Eldrazi cards because, well, I run an Eldrazi Commander deck, and I really can't wait to upgrade it with these fun new cards from Modern Horizons 3. Thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring this video and giving me some awesome Modern Horizons 3 packs to open and share with you guys. If you're interested in checking out this set, one of the best ways you can do it is at pre-release. Pre-release is where we all go down, crack open the cards for the first time and build a 40 card limited deck just with what we open. It's a really fun way to experience the set. We all try our best to get the rules right, have some fun, and just enjoy the flavourful new cards and the players that we'll discover on the day. So I'll be getting down to my local shop for pre-release, and hey, if you like these cards, maybe you should too. All right, enough of that. Let's get into the packs and have some fun. So here we have our 6 Modern Horizons 3 play boosters. Now, when you're playing in a limited environment, or what we know as sealed, this is where you basically open 6 booster packs and you try to construct a 40 card limited deck from them. That means we can only use the cards in here as well as any lands that we have at our local game store to provide. So I'm going to be keeping that in mind, and maybe at the end I'll show you what kind of limited deck I would build with these packs. But I'm not going to lie, I'm really excited to check out the new Eldrazi cards and all of the powerful new bombs that we're going to find in this set. So let's dive in and crack a pack. So let's go this way. This is the first Modern Horizons 3 preview pack. Okay, so let's dive into our Modern Horizons 3 packs. So first of all, thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sending these packs out. I really appreciate it, and I'm going to make sure to see if I can't pull something awesome for everybody. So it's worth noting that when you go to a pre-release event or a sealed event, you have these 6 packs, you open them up, and then your job is to build a deck with just the cards you have. And some basic lands that you get from your game store. They're there for free, so that's awesome. So we're going to be keeping that in mind when we open these, and at the end of the video, I'm going to try and put together maybe the kind of deck I would build personally from these packs. But I'm not going to lie, I'm super excited to get my hands on, hopefully some of the awesome new Eldrazi cards, as well as just the spicy, new, awesome, great stuff that's in Modern Horizons 3. So let's begin, and let's grab a pack. I think we're going to start with this one. This one feels kind of lucky. So we're going to be keeping an eye out, and this time I'm going to go through all the cards because they're all brand new, and isn't that cool? All right, so this is a card I'm really excited about, Evolution Witness. It's a kind of play on the Eternal Witness card that sees so much play in Commander, that allows you to return permanents from your graveyard to your hand. This one, however, does it whenever 1 or more +1 counters are on it, and that's got that kind of Ravnica Simic energy to it, so that's really cool. Okay, we've got a flying creature that puts +1 counters on other creatures. Flying is always super good to remember in Limited because it helps you get damage in. Smelted Charge Bug. Oh yeah, so the thing, I forgot about this, but energy is returning. So energy is a mechanic that hasn't been seen since the sets Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. And it's basically an extra resource you can use to do cool things. So like this guy, for example, when he attacks, you can pay energy to give another creature Menace as well. So Menace is also good, another great evasive keyword. We've got Tune the Narrative, so that's draw a card, you get 2 energy. It's really nice. Got a Fetid Gargantua. Whenever 1 or more +1 counters are put on it, you may draw 2 cards if you do lose 2 life. So a nice bit of +1 counter synergy going on, and hey, we got our first little Eldrazi. So this Eldrazi is a common, When you cast this spell and when it dies, you create a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn token with sacrifice this creature, add a colorless. You love to see it, a nice bit of mana acceleration and a 3 mana 3/3. That's not too bad. Riddlegate Gargoyle, so that's another energy creature. Get 3 energy, and when you do, you can pay 2 to give a creature lifelink until the end of the turn. 2/2 flyer is also really nice. Another Eldrazi, so that's giving creature tokens you have evolve. That means if creatures with greater power toughness enter, then they get +1 counters. That's really cool. Monstrous Vortex, when you cast a spell of power 5 or greater, Discover X. Discover's really cool. That was in the recent set, Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Oh, cool. So this is an awesome card. So it's called Stump Stomp. Try saying that 5 times fast. But this card is a spell on one side and a land on the other side. Isn't that cool? So basically you can put this in your deck and, you know, if you're behind on mana, you can use it as a land. And if you're ahead on mana, then you can use it as a creature. Now, I have seen the card behind it, so let's jump straight to that, and that is a Phyrexian Tower. So this is an awesome reprint of a great card for Commander, and it's going to be awesome to see it in Modern as well. It's a mythic rare as well, so I'm definitely happy to see that. So we can tap it to add a colorless mana, or we can sacrifice a creature to add 2 black. So it actually taps for 2, so long as we can keep feeding it creatures. Great to see it, and an awesome hit. Oh, sweet, okay, and a second mythic in the same pack. That's really crazy. That's kind of crazy. So this is Shadow of the Second Sun. It is an enchantment aura that lets you enchant a player, and at the beginning of that enchanted player's post-combat main phase, there is an additional beginning phase after this phase. Okay, so that's a lot of me saying phase, but that basically means anything that would trigger at the start of the turn, so that untap, upkeep, and draw, you would get to do that twice. So that's really cool. And we finish out the pack with a foil common. That is a... Oh, and of course, I love these. So we're getting lands with Eldrazi on them. If you couldn't tell, I was a fan already. And then this awesome art card at the back. And this is Nardu Winged Wisdom. Wonder if we'll find him. Great first pack, got to admit. Really, really nice to see 2 mythic rares in one pack. Very happy to see that. Let's see if we can't keep it going. All right, let's move over onto pack number 2. Now, here's just a thing that can help you while you're building a limited deck. It can help you to kind of put your cards in color order. Now, I won't do that just yet, just because I've got to show you all of the packs, but at the end, it can really help then to see, oh, okay, I've got quite a lot of blue cards, for example. I've got more blue cards than green cards, so I might want to consider blue for my deck. All right, we are on to pack number 2. Let's see if this can be as good as the last one. We really started off strong, but I'd really love to see some of the Eldrazi Titans in here, so let's see what we can do. Okay, so we've got 1 and a red for a removal spell. So these cards here that say Devoid, these are also Eldrazi themed, so they have no color, even though they cost mana to cast. So anything that triggers from colorless spells will count a Devoid card. Utter Insignificance. Wow, I feel that one. So enchanted creature loses all abilities and has base power toughness 1 and 1, and you can exile it as well. So that's a nice bit of flexible removal. Grave Dig. So this is a good card that scales with the game. So it's 2 mana if you'd like to cast it for one of its modes, or you can pay an additional 2 mana to cast it for both modes. So that's always really nice. It can scale with the game, so it's not a bad pick. Malevolent Rumble, so that's going to be looking at the top 4 cards of our library, getting a permanent card into our hand and the rest in the graveyard, and then making an Eldrazi spawn. That's really cool. Mandibular Kite, god, that's an interesting piece of art there. So this is a creature on its own. It has Living Weapon, creates a 0/0 germ, and then attaches itself to it, so it's a 1/1 with flying. But you can actually equip it to another creature as well to give a creature flying in the late game, and as we said, flying is really good. We've got a new cycle of common lands in Modern Horizons 3, and these ones here actually search for cards with a basic mountain, a basic plains, or a basic swamp and put them onto the battlefield tapped. They also tap for mana, which is great, and they also cycle, so if you don't need this card later in the game, you can pay 1 red, 1 white, and 1 black, and you can discard this card and draw a card. I think they're going to do great work in Commander. So this card, Obstinate Gargoyle, has flying so long as it's modified. So we're seeing, as you can see in this set, it's a great callback to Lots of awesome mechanics from different sets, like Persist here, modified from Kamigawa. It's just a really awesome love letter to Magic. Okay, Path of Annihilation, an enchantment that creates Eldrazi spawn tokens. Ooh, it gives Eldrazi tap to add 1 mana of any colour. I love to see that. And when you cast a creature spell with mana value 7 or greater, you gain 4 life. And I don't know what to tell you about Eldrazi, but a lot of them are 7 or greater. I think that's really cool. Proud Pack Rhino. Enters the battlefield, choose 1, put a shield counter on target permanent or proliferate. So we're getting a nice bit of counter synergy. Oh great, another uncommon land another uncommon card that's a land on the other side. So that's really cool. These are a lot better than they look, I have to say, especially for limited. As I mentioned, the flexibility is really great for Commander. The fact that you only have to pay a little bit of life for them to come in untapped means that you can really be utilizing these in your decks, and they're really, really intense, really cool. So we've got an old border card here, Skoa, Ember Mage. This is a legendary creature, so this can actually be used as a commander of our decks. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to any target, and you can discard another card needs to... Oh, okay. So maybe it can't be used as a commander for out. Well, I guess it could, but it might not be the best one to use. Grandeur is an awesome old mechanic, though. Nice to see that back. Okay, so we've got Decree of Justice, so we can cycle this, or we can create a load of 4/4 angels, so that could really close out the game if it goes long. We have Wrath of the Skies, so this is a card that you can pay into, get a load of energy counters, and then you may pay any amount of them and destroy any artifact, creature, and enchantment with mana value less than the energy counters. Now it's worth noting you can actually just pay nothing into this and blow up 0 mana value like tokens, like treasures and things. That's going to be a really cool card to see in Commander. We've got a foil here, Revitalizing Repast, which has a land on the other side. Really cool. And another art card, and this is like one of those side profile cards of Flage, Titan of Fire's Fury. Very cool. Right, let's see if we can't figure out what direction our deck is going in as we move on to pack number 3. All right, let's keep things moving with pack number 3. Okay, so we've got Siege Smash, bit of removal there. This Corrupted Shapeshifter, which looks like, well, that person has definitely seen better days. So it is an Eldrazi that can come in as a 3/3 with flying, a 2/5 with Defender, or a 0/12 with Defender. Wow, that is really interesting. Dream Drinker Vampire, so it has Lifelink and Adapt 1, so Lifelink can help you get obviously ahead when you're behind on life. And when it gets counters on it, it gains Menace until the end of the turn, so that's going to be really easy to help you connect with your opponent. Temperamental Oozewag. Oh, sometimes I actually can't believe what I'm saying when I read these cards out. But modified creatures you control have trample. This I really like, so we put counters on all of our creatures, and, well, you know, they then are able to put damage through. But look at that guy's face. I can't stop looking at it. Oh my goodness. It's staring into my soul. Inspired Inventor. When it enters the battlefield, you choose 1. You get 3 energy. You can put counters on creatures, or you can create tokens. All things we like to see. Looks like it's going to synergize nicely with our deck. We've got another one of those cycle lands, this time a white, green, black one. Ooh, a Breaker of Creation. Now this is an 8 mana Eldrazi. This one I really like to see. So when you cast this spell, I gain life for each colorless permanent I control, well, which is probably going to be a lot knowing me. It has hexproof from each color, so it's going to be really hard to remove, and it has Annihilator too. Now this is a card that's going to be really, really hard to remove from for our opponents. So if we can live long enough to get this out, this is going to be really, really back-breaking. Okay, so Consuming Corruption. This is a great card if we end up with lots of swamps, dealing X damage to target creature, gaining life where X is the number of swamps I control. Heck yeah. Voltstorm Angel. Another great creature that seems to pay into the energy. So yeah, at the beginning of combat on our turn, we can pay energy to give this Vigilance and Lifelink, or to buff the rest of our creatures. So I can see that being very powerful. Essence Reliquary. Return another target permanent you control and all auras you control attached to it to their owner's hand. That's not too bad. So we can, oh, well, you see, activate only during our turn is a little bit tricky, but, you know, it means we can reuse maybe some enter the battlefield abilities. We can't necessarily save a creature from being killed with this. Annoyed Altasaur. So This is a nice reprint from Commander Legends, Reach, Trample, and Cascade, so you're very likely to get some good value off of this card. Okay, Obtruse Appropriation. This is a removal spell. Exile target non-land permanent. Oh, and we may cast it for as long as it remains exiled. Oh, I like to see that. And we may spend colourless mana as though it was mana of any colour. So this really rewards us for building into that Eldrazi theme there. And we have a Kami of Jealous Thirst. So that is a Death Touch creature that we can pay into to have each opponent lose life and we gain life. Ooh, and it's free so long as we've drawn 3 or more cards this turn. That's not too bad to remind. And then we have a lovely, gorgeous basic land here. And a Phyrexian Germ. That's sweet, right. Let's keep the train moving and move on to pack number 4. I'm wondering what kind of deck we're going to build this time. I'm still hoping to see some of the big fancy Eldrazi. We saw one really cool 8 mana one there, so let's see if we can't get some more. All right, it's time for pack number 4. Let's do this. Infernal Captor. It has a creature with exploit, so it can exploit another creature and we can steal an artifact or creature until the end of the turn, untap it and it gains haste. Okay, so if our opponent has a big Eldrazi, maybe we can steal it with this. Serum Visionary. This is an awesome throwback to a classic card of Magic, Serum Visions, of course, except it comes attached to a creature, so it enters the battlefield, we draw a card and then scry 2. That's really cool. Wither and Bloom is a nice bit of removal there, and also we can exile it from our graveyard later in the game to put a +1 counter on target creature we control. It's always these tricks you've got to remember when you're playing Sealed for Modern, and Modern Horizons 3 is very, very full of tricks. We love to see it. Colossal Dread Mask is a throwback to a creature that everyone enjoys, Colossal Dreadmaw, except this time it's attached to a Phyrexian Germ. It's seen better days, but it will definitely make you a cool little homage to one of the coolest recent creatures in Magic. Expanding Ooze. Whenever this attacks, put a +1 counter on target modified creature we control. So it looks like we're seeing support for counters in most colours here. I'm really hyped to see that. Perilous Landscape. So this will be the blue, red, white version of our new land cycle. Arcbound Condor. So this creature card has modular, which means when it dies, if it had any counters on it, you can put them on another target artifact creature. So that means if it does get removed, you're going to still get a nice bit of value from it. Is it Generatorium? So this card allows us to double the energy we would get. This is a really nice linchpin card, and what you'll find in Sealed is when you have these 2-color cards, they are an uncommon. They often kind of give you a clue into where to build your deck. So this is like, okay, if you really want to be doing energy in these colors, this might be a card you want to include. Legion Leadership looks to be a land on the other side as well, but also we can double target creature's power and it gains first strike to the end of the turn. We like that. And another one. So this one's just, these are great. They're so awesome to include because it's a removal spell, but then if the creatures are getting too big, you can play it as a land. This pack is really packed with removal. It would seem Meltdown, destroy each artifact with mana value X or less. So there have been a good number of artifact creatures in these packs. So this is definitely going to see some use. And this card is called Crabomination. So you emerge from an artifact. So you can cast this by sacrificing an artifact and paying the emerge cost. Wow. So basically this card's cost is reduced by whatever artifacts you sacrifice. But when it enters the battlefield, target opponent exiles the top card of their library, a card at random from their graveyard, and a card at random from your hand, and we may cast them without paying its mana cost. That's insane. Oh my goodness. So we really want to get this out by throwing a big artifact at it, and then we can just steal plenty of cards from our opponents. I love to see it, and the name is great, of course. We've got a foil of one of the new cycling lands here. Oh, and then a gorgeous foil Eldrazi Mountain. Oh, love it. A Phyrexian Germ, and yep, an ad on the back. All right, so we know that our deck may or may not include a ginormous crab. Let's see what else it might include with pack number 5. Okay, let's see what we got. Solstice Zealot, so this allows us to tap creatures if we have energy, so that's going to help us attack our opponent. Sarpadian Simulacrum, this is a hasty little goblin that we can sacrifice to deal damage to creatures later in the game. Unfathomable Truths, we can draw 3 cards and create a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn creature token and gives us some mana back and some cards. Retrofitted Transmogrant, so this is a 1 mana 1/1 that we can actually cast again for 4 mana from the graveyard. as a 3/3. That's pretty good, actually. We don't mind that at all, especially because we can do that at instant speed. We can trick our opponents. Tranquil Landscape looks to be the banned version of this cycle land. Sneaky Snacker, that's a fun card to say. When you draw your third card each turn, return it to the battlefield tapped. Okay, so maybe, with that unfathomable truth there, we might have something going on in this pack where we can be looking to draw loads of cards. Another land with cycling. Cycling notably draws us cards as well. Static Prison. So this is an awesome bit of removal that plays into the energy theme. So we can exile target non-land permanent. So we can exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield, and I get 2 energy counters. At the beginning of my pre-combat main phase, I have to put energy into this to keep the prison going. So it's like I've got to, keep putting batteries in it. But to keep something potentially game-ending from my opponents off the field, that might be a cost you want to pay. Cursed Wombat. Okay, so this is a permanence you control have whenever they have a +1 counter put on them, put an additional one on them. This triggers once each turn. Okay, so this is if we're really looking to go wide in green and black. Okay, we've got Ral and the Implicit Maze. Now this is a saga, which on the first turn deals 2 damage to each creature and planeswalker our opponents control. Then on chapter 2, if we discard a card, we can exile the top 2 cards of our library and play them until the end of our next turn. And then finally, we can create a Spellgorger Weird token, which is a 2/2 that gets +1/+1 whenever we cast a non-creature spell. That's a lot of value for 5 mana. Ooh, and we have a special guest. Isn't that interesting? So special guests can show up in any pack, and they can be, well, an awesome list of cards. This one is Dismember. So for 1 mana and either 2 black or 4 life, we can give a creature -5/-5 until the end of the turn. Life is a resource, so that's a really fun card to see and could remove a creature that an opponent is expecting you to remove. We've got Meteoric Mace, so that's an equipment that gives a creature +4/+0 and trample, and Cascade, so we might even get a creature to attach this to. We've got Psychic Frog. Isn't that a fun card? When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, we draw a card, and we can discard a card to put a +1 counter on it. Not only that, we can exile cards from our graveyard to give it flying until the end of the turn. What can't this frog do? That is the question. Can it block an Eldrazi, though? That is the question. All right, and oh, nice. So we've got a foil Polluted Delta in the pack. So one of the things everyone's going to be very pleased to see in this set is the return of Fetch Lands. Fetch Lands are a cycle of cards that are synonymous with Modern, basically allowing you to pay 1 life and kind of get whatever land you want. Well, in this case, so long as it's an island or a swamp, but it can also have the island or swamp keyword, so you can grab shock lands, triomes, this is an amazing hit. I could not be more happy to see it. And I could also not be more happy to see this Eldrazi spawn, because you know what? We like Eldrazi in this house. Okay, that is a crazy pack. We really love seeing a Polluted Delta in there. We've got 1 more to go, so let's see what we can do. I'm almost very tempted to try to build a blue-black deck just so we can run that, because that's really cool. All right, wing it. So that's +2/+2 until the end of the turn, gives a creature flying, and then we scry 1. I quite like that. That's a fun little combat trick. Void Pouncer. So this is a 1 and a red for a 3/1, but we can pay an additional 2 and a colorless to kick it. And if we do, it enters with 2 +1 counters, a trample counter on it, and haste. So that could be a lot of damage out of nowhere. Deem Inferior. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each card you've drawn this turn. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it from the library, second from the top or bottom. Okay, Dross Claw, another living weapon, and when this creature attacks, each opponent loses a life, so that's a nice bit of damage that can add up over time. Foul Strike. Oh my god, the art here. Oh my goodness. So I think that gentleman has punched a bird in the head. You've seen it here first. Destroy target creature with flying. Yeah, that seems fair enough. Expel the Unworthy. Choose target creature with mana value 3 or less. If the spell was kicked, instead choose target creature, exile it, and then its control gains life equal to the mana value. That's not bad. Cranial Ram is a callback to an old card, Cranial Plating, which gives a creature +X/+1, where X is the number of artifacts we control. So if we really spec into artifacts, this could be a very powerful payoff, and only at common as well. Emissary of the Soulfire is a 3 mana 1/4 that gives us 3 energy counters. We can pay 2 energy counters to put an Exalted counter on target creature we control and activate only as a sorcery, so that can help us add up the damage a little bit there. Reiterating Bolt is a removal spell that can deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, but if we have energy to pay into it, we can copy it over and over again, so that's a really nice payoff for the energy strategy right there. We've got Blood-Soaked Insight, which costs 7, but 1 less to cast for each life our opponents have lost this turn. Target opponent exiles the top 3 cards of their library. Until the end of the next turn, we may play those cards, and if we cast a spell this way, mana of any type can be spent to cast it, and it is a land on the other side. And it looks like our rare for the pack is a Ruby Medallion, which is a very, very nice card to see. Really needed reprint here. Red spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That is simple, but so effective. Oh, sweet. So we actually got one of the flares as well. So I mentioned that these are a new cycle of free spells where we can sacrifice a creature instead of paying the spell's mana cost. So by sacrificing a non-token green creature, we can search our library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, and put them onto the battlefield tapped. Well, 1 into the battlefield tapped and 1 in my hand, and that is just some gorgeous art right there. Oh my goodness. Then a foil lethal throwdown for a little more removal, an island, and some esoteric art, Sphinx of the Revelation. Okay, so those were our packs, and I don't think we did too bad, to be honest. We've got one of the gorgeous new flares to show off, a very needed reprint in the Ruby Medallion. We've got a foil fetch land. We definitely don't hate to see that. A special guest, so the Dismember can really help us do a nice bit of removal. We've got a card that's called Crabomination. I don't really know what more to say than that. We've got some lovely removal that helps us steal spells from our opponent, something I will try to do my best at when I am down at my local game store. And then we have our Wrath of the Skies, which allows us to destroy all of our opponent's fun stuff. And finally, back to our first pack, we have our Shadow of the Second Sun and our Phyrexian Tower. So I'm going to try and look at all these cards and make something fun out of them. But I suppose that is a really lovely snapshot of the awesome cards you can get in Modern Horizons 3 right there. So you've got some really lovely reprints here with the Polluted Delta and the Ruby Medallion. You've got the awesome new Flare Cycle. And then, yeah, you've got these first to modern prints as well in Phyrexian Tower. It's always interesting to see cards like this and what they might do to other format. These sets are often known for turning formats on their head, and it's going to be really exciting to see what this one does. So let's return back when I've built a deck, and I'll show you what we ended up with. Okay, and we're back with our finished limited deck. And as you can see, I've chosen to go green, white, black, or Abzan as it's known. But I've decided to do one thing different and build the deck around Crabomination, or Crabzan, if you will. So, as much as my love of Eldrazi, exudes through everything I do, I found that we actually had a really awesome pool for a Abzan +1 counters deck, or a modified deck. We've got lots of little creatures that come back with counters on them. We've even got lots of artifacts, including this one, the Colossal Dread Mask, with a high mana value, which means we can emerge the Crabomination from it. And all in all, I really honestly feel like this is going to be a blast to play. I was really hyped to get to include the Dismember, because it is a gorgeous treatment and a nice bit of surprise removal that really can deal with well. I mean, one of the biggest threats in my deck. Is going to be awesome to see, as well as a little smattering of the energy cards, just because, you know, here and there, it's not too bad. You don't have to build your entire deck around energy. It's just an extra resource for us all to use. But I don't know about you guys. I really enjoyed seeing the new cards in this set, and I'll be very excited to see them in the new pre-release environment. I hope to see you guys down there too. So thanks to Wizards of the Coast. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you down at Modern Horizons pre-release. All right, take care now. Bye-bye.